It's been quite some time since I've made a video, but spring's here and I think it's time to start some tobacco seeds. And if you've never seen tobacco seeds before, they're very tiny. This is what they look like. Just absolutely tiny things that grow into really big plants. So I'm going to be starting these. I've got a bunch I saved from a few years ago. These are an Oriental tobacco. Turkish, what is it, Izmir? Izmir, I don't know how to pronounce it, but that and Black Sea, Samsun, something like that. But they're a mix of both, so we'll see how they do. And the first thing I do to start them is I've got these little shot glasses. You can use whatever you want. And I put some holes in the bottom so I can water them from the bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and fill this with some seed starting mix, and then I'm going to get it watered and we'll plant some seeds. Alright, I've got my seed starting mix in my little starter glass here, and I'm going to have to get it really soggy. That's the way I do it anyway, and it probably might take a while with this because for some reason this particular seed starting mix, when it's really dry, takes forever to absorb water. So we'll get her watered and see if we can't start growing something. As you can see, the water doesn't really like to absorb into this stuff very quickly, so it's probably going to take a while. Alright, I've got the seed starting mix nice and soggy, and the reason I do that is because the tobacco seeds need to stay moist for them to germinate, and they're so small that you don't want to water it from the top because you'll displace them all. So you water it from the bottom, and by keeping it moist, very moist, it keeps them wet for a lot longer, and I don't have to use a little greenhouse cover thing like this over the top of it. I can just leave it out and it stays plenty wet for them to germinate. So it's pretty simple to start these things. You just grab yourself a small pinch of them. I mean, I don't even need that many, but I have it. And we're just going to sprinkle them on the top. That's really all you got to do. Now that's plenty. I didn't even use a whole pinch, but that'll get me more tobacco plants than I need. So I can plant quite a bit with what I've got. But now I just gotta let that sit in the sun. Make sure these don't dry out. If they do, you can spray them with a spray bottle to keep them moist, or use a little greenhouse cover like I showed you. And they'll begin to germinate in about a week or so, 3 or 4 days to a week, depending on the age of the seeds and what type they are and so on. But once they begin to germinate and grow, in probably 2, maybe 3 weeks, or they'll be about the size that I usually transplant them into the larger containers. So I'll come back in a few weeks and we'll see how they're doing.